Hey, what's up, people? What's going on, from this response to the first black president of the United States, done by Yvette 404. And sorry it took me so long to get back at you. I thought I wrote a comment down. I was looking for it just earlier. I couldn't find it, so I don't know if it was erased or whatever. But here's my video response. And basically, I watched your whole video and I took some notes and I did a little research last night about Mr. Jon Hanson, and also I remember what you had read on the books that was given to you, or when you were reading with, and also I went back and forth again. It even made a few phone calls to a couple people that I know that somewhat kind of know what you know and let everybody else know. Anyway, Jon Hanson, well, I can say this in two parts. You got him as the first president, then you got him as the first black president. Well, I'll start with president first. Well, he wasn't the first president, obviously. He was one of the third presidents, or what, the time, at that particular time, before between the Declaration of Independence, which was in 1776, and actual Article of Federation, which, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry, which set up the official constitution and election to elect President Washington in 1789. So between 1776 and 1789, the United States wasn't fully developed or fully organized as a country at the time. And also between that time, Jon Hanson, or actually was Hamilton, or I can't remember the first guy's name, McKean, and Jon Hanson would be the third guy, along with several other guys, was called President of the United States and Congress assembled. Now at the time, the title President of the United States Congress assembled wasn't really the official title of President of the United States, because at the time the First Continental Congress was actually not set up as, wasn't federalized yet. When the First Continental Congress assembled, there was still, it was, you can basically call it like a older version of the UN, where there was not really no single leader in charge of everybody. It was just a collective of states, and they basically an agreement that this is what's going to happen. Here's what we're going to tell the British guys to F off. We're independent now, and you had no say over us. That's basically what it was between the Declaration of Independence in 1776, all the way through the Revolutionary War, all the way till the time where the British finally surrendered and recognized us somewhat at that time as our own sovereignty. But also remember that it was not all 13 colonies had confirmed being part of the United States until close to, or well after that time. And also you got to take up the factor that it was 1700s. Not everything could be sent within a day or two. It might have took weeks, it might have took a couple months. And remember, it was a Revolutionary War, so during, I'm pretty sure at the time the Declaration of Independence was set up, the British had some control of the states in some type of fashion through occupation, being British military and all. Then of course when the American Revolution came along, well, back to Jon Hanson and the title of President of the United States Congress assembled. And like I said, hopefully that explains to you and anyone else listening why Jon Hanson wouldn't really be considered a president before George Washington, or any guy before 1789, April 30th, 1789, as president of the United States. Because one, also at the time of the First Continental Congress, there was no actual statute of government really set up. You just had basically your representatives of the states, and between the representatives of the states, they elected a person to even out, not even out, but to basically break a tiebreaker and vote, which happens today in most democratic governments and most Western governments. And actually, if you read on several occasions, actually the title of President of the United States Congress symbol can be equivalent to today's House Speaker of the House of Representatives or the President of the Senate in some sort of way. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, before 1789, there wasn't really a clear-cut leader for the United States. You had bits and pieces of an establishment of organization of government through collaborations and confirmations through different states, but you didn't really have a singular or a single one thing that confirmed anything. So that kind of really cancels out. And two, once, you know, like I said before, once the war was pretty much over, and once the American government was actually established along with the electoral college, that's when you can actually officialize some of government. And also at that time, that was the first establishment of a singular executive government, which was in charge of enforcing policy. Then you had your other two branches of government, judicial and legislative. So basically, the oldest branch of government is the legislative, but really it wasn't really the intent at that particular time for the President of the United States Congress assembled. That's the actual original title to preside over. And also you got to think about the time that it wasn't really called the United States yet at the particular time. They were probably still called colonies, or the colonies wasn't really officially established yet. It was on the process of being established. So basically, you can't really confirm any of the 8 previous guys or 7 previous guys before George Washington at the time as presidents of the United States, because one, there was no establishment of the executive branch until after 1789, or until after April 30th, 1789. Now, the next one, couldn't really find anything about him creating the Mr. Jon Hanson, that is, creating the seal, the Great Seal of the United States, or anything like that. There was no concrete validation that he personally actually did it. And two, as far as him being black, I'm not going to go ask, well, does it really matter? But I will say this: there really isn't no documentation of him being a slave or of Negro type. Then you also, I remember you saying that you showed 2 different pictures. One that looks closely like a Caucasian or mulatto type person. Then you showed the actual, what you claimed or what you showed on your video as a picture of the real picture of Jon Hanson. So I came to think, well, where do you get this material from? And I remember you told me one of the books, and the author is eating this Kamet Kush. I had to think about that for a second, and I was like, well, obviously there has to be a black man. Then come to find out, that might not be his original name. Then I didn't want to be too negative on your response or my response to your video, but did want to say this, that hopefully, I ain't trying to raid on your parade, but it's pretty sad that you take someone's, I'm not trying to dispute facts or anything, but it is pretty sad that you're going to take the words of a person who's trying to use racial propaganda over something that's obvious. And like I said, there's no actual facts that Jon Hanson, I believe his name is, as a black person. There's no documentation, there's no known documentation, and like I said, it's been known as sketchy history. And like I said before, he wouldn't be considered as the first president of the United States. Now, this Kush guy probably, like I said, when he wrote this material, probably wrote it in the purpose of propaganda. Now, you can dispute that. I'm just going on as it is. But I think it's more propaganda. He's trying to twist the facts. That's what basically I'm trying to say. And that's all I'm pretty much going to say. Jon Hanson was not the first president of the United States. It was George Washington. And no, he wasn't a black man. So that's about it. Holla back.